Come on. It doesn't move like it used to. I have to push it around now. Horses go up and down. Welcome, cellar dwellers, to the Matthew Street channel. I am your host, Matthew Street. I really appreciate you being here, live from the cavern in my parents' basement. It's not even making... There it goes. What a shame. Doesn't work the same way it used to. My mother got this in the late 70s, early 80s, I think. Oh, my goodness. Old carousel. Put it over here. I wonder if this old fella works. How you doing, old fella? You work? His little foot used to bounce up and down. It's not doing that anymore. And he used to rock back and forth. And the song was faster. It was like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, there goes his foot a little bit. Wow. Memories, folks. Memories. Oh, my kids used to love those. We'd go over to my mom and dad's house when they were very, very little, and she would play those for them, and I might have been a reason why they love music so much today, right? The influence of those types of things. Nostalgia, memories, folks. Why am I talking about this? Nostalgia for music, nostalgia for the past things in your life. Well, I was watching one of my favorite channels recently, Jeff, over at Calico Silver. Please subscribe. I'll put the link below. Jeff's a great guy. Very musical guy, very talented, very intelligent. He plays piano, he plays guitar, among who knows what other instruments. I really respect that about Jeff, that, you know, he has a honed craft in music that he's cultivated throughout his life. I mean, I fought around with guitar a little bit throughout my life, but I've never taken it to the level of someone like Jeff playing out professionally and being that multi-talented. So I respect him for that. He's a great guy. He's the kind of guy, you know, you see a few people here that you make contact with on YouTube, that he's the kind of guy I would like to go out and have a beer with, or some wine and cheese at least, have a bite to eat, talk about music, talk about life, talk about different things that we have in common. We're both 60, we both graduated high school the same year, 1979. We both love music, obviously. We're both light on the top. I'd like to mention that. Yeah, Jeff seems like a great fella. Guy, you know, one of those guys you'd like to hang out with. And he did a video recently about the death of nostalgia. And it really sparked me. I watch his videos all the time. I comment here and there. But this one really struck me for some reason, because he was talking about how he's kind of let things go in his life, in the sense that, like, he used to hang on to certain types of music or certain items in his life because they were nostalgic. He had a nostalgic connection to them, especially to certain music. And he kept these items, but then all of a sudden at age 50 or 55 or so, he said that he lost, or he started to lose, that nostalgic connection to things. Nostalgia was kind of dissipating from his life. He said, especially after his mom passed away, the items like little trinkets and figurines like this that he used to be fond of when he would go visit his mom, and he would bring them back to his youth or a different time in his life, a more innocent time, those items meant something to him. But once his mom passed away, he missed his mom, but he thinks the connection to those physical items, inanimate objects, were because his mom, when she was still here, once she was gone, the items didn't mean as much to him. He was able to leave those things behind and move forward. And I can understand and relate to that. Now, I don't want to say just totally took everything that meant something to him and threw it in the trash. No, it sounded like he kept a few special things. And he did keep some special music from his personal life, things he still enjoyed. He hung on to a few things, but he was able to let a lot of it go. A lot of that stuff that was nostalgic to him, he was able to let it go. And it's kind of happened to me too, folks, in a sense. I kind of relate to Jeff on this level, because it happened with my job. When I retired from my career of 30 years, that thing that provided for my family and my children and wife and whatnot. Once I retired from that several years ago, I had some connection to it with a really close friend who was from that job or career. And so we would commiserate about the old job and the people, what so and so on. But he passed away several years ago, sadly. And once he did, I didn't think about my old job much anymore, my career. I didn't have an interest in it. I didn't care what was going on. I kind of still don't. He's gone. And so that connection with that career is gone. Now I've moved on to new things. I have a new part-time little job that I do, and that's more important to me. Or like Jeff said with his mom passing, my mom had a very debilitating stroke happen to her in 2013, which totally incapacitated her for the rest of her life. She passed away in 2018. After that stroke, my dad was having some health issues. We had to, essentially, my brothers and I make a decision to break up their home, sell their home, and my dad moved, and mom at the time when she was still alive, moved in with my wife and I into an in-law apartment in my home, which is right above me, folks, where my mom and dad, my dad still lives. And that's why I call it my parents' basement, because I'm right below them, their in-law apartment. But they moved in with us, and we had to break up the home. And I remember that was one of the toughest days of my life with my two brothers and people helping out on that day of the estate sale. I had tears in my eyes at one point. I mean, an old neighbor who had been in the neighborhood for decades, he was getting older like myself now. I knew him as a kid. I remember him coming up to me when I was at one part of the house, and he said to me, walking through your parents' house and, being here all these years, knowing you folks and looking at all the stuff you have and that you're letting go, he says, I could really feel the love and the caring that was in this home. When I look at the things your mother had or your dad had, and I can feel the love that was here. Oh, boy, that hit me. That was just so powerful. I almost lost it. And yeah, there were the many good and happy times in my home, and the memories were good, and there were the sad memories and bad memories too of different things and issues that families and crises and things you face. But boy, when he said that to me, it really struck home with me. And like Jeff said, some things, inanimate objects, don't mean much anymore, because I drive by that old house now almost 10 years later since we had to have that estate sale, and it doesn't have the same meaning for me. I have the memories I have from living in that home, but the people living there now have changed it aesthetically and landscape-wise. And so, yeah, it has the memories. I have the memories in here of living in that home for most of my life, but I drive by it now and it really doesn't strike me the way I thought it would, like having the memories. So they moved in here and all those years ago, and I did get rid of a lot of things. My dad got rid of things, and since my mother's passed away in 2018, as I said. But I have to say, I'm with Jeff all the way pretty much, and I think he would agree with me, Jeff, if you see this, but I do believe in a little bit of nostalgia. I think a little bit's okay with me. I did keep like my mom and dad's old photos from when they were young, and of their parents and even their grandparents, which would be my great-grandparents. We have some old pictures from the early 20th century of relatives that are long gone, but, I couldn't part with those photos after my mom passed and they lived here with us, and my dad still being with us. I couldn't part with those photos. And I did keep an item or two, I kept these two music boxes, which don't even work as well. An old cane from my grandfather. He born in 1896. He passed away in 1988. He had several canes. I was asked if I wanted one of them, and I've hung on to it. My mom passed away in 2018, but this is an old fleece little throw-around jacket she used to wear all the time right before she passed away, because she was in a wheelchair, bound to a wheelchair pretty much, and this was easy to put on and off her to help keep her warm. I can't part with it. It hangs in my closet. I'll never wear it, obviously, but it's in my closet. When I see it there sometimes, it just reminds me of Mom. My mother was a tremendous artist, a seamstress, cook, baker, very talented woman, and she made clothes for people and stuff, and she made me this fleece zip-up, 3/4 zip-up shirt. Maybe 20 years ago now she made it. I don't wear it really anymore, but I can't part with it. My mother made this for me. personally. So I've hung on to it. Let me throw that over there a little bit. It's hard sometimes, you save a few items here and there because so many people in my life are now gone that when I see these little items, it brings back fond, loving memories that I'll never let go of those memories. As Jeff said, you hang on to the memories of the person, but sometimes seeing that little object or two brings me some comfort, if you know what I mean. And I would hope Jeff would understand that, and he may even agree with that on some level. But I totally understand Jeff about letting certain nostalgia go for inanimate objects, because many of the things are long gone. I only have a handful of things, one or two things that remind me of a certain person or a certain time in my life or memory. And having that item can bring a smile to me. Having that picture can make me think about a memory that is just long, a time that's long gone. It brings you a sense of peace sometimes that maybe that person or their spirit is with you on some level. Not hoarding items, as I said, but just a memento or two to, because you can't live in the past. Jeff's right. You can't do that. There's too much going forward. I have 2 sons. I have grandchildren now with their families. Caring for my dad now, who's 91, going to be 92 later this summer. He's right upstairs, as a matter of fact. New music to look forward to and to listen to. And I have saved some old music. My mom used to bring this old CD to the senior center to see her friends when she was sick, and she would bring this old Ray Conniff CD with her to listen to sometimes. So although many of their musical CDs and records are long gone, I hung on to a few. This Ray Conniff one reminds me of my mom just before she passed away. Or she used to love this album by Bobby Martin. She even wrote on it. I love this record with her name. Her name was Louise. Louise, 1970. I don't know if you can see it good, but it's there. I love this record. 1970. I couldn't part with it, although many of their albums are now long gone. But this one, she wrote on it, I couldn't. My dad, he loves his jazz and his soft jazz. But back in the day, he was a little old for Chicago, but back in '69, he bought the Chicago Transit Authority. He loves horns. He loves the brass. He loved that big band era when he was a young man in the 40s. And he would have modern albums like this, as I've told you in other videos. Got his old Chicago Transit Authority album. This is the one. I couldn't part with it. That was Dad's. So I believe in a touch or a dash of nostalgia sometimes. I think it can be soothing sometimes, fill you with fond memories, even for a little while. As long as you don't dwell on the past. I agree with Jeff there. You can't dwell on the past. You can't get caught up in the past too much. That can be no good. You have to move forward. You have to think forward. A little nostalgia never hurt anyone, but you got to keep your perspective on it. And I just think, like Jeff, I've come to the realization that, I can't be 100% nostalgic all the time. I had to let things go at some point in my life, and I have. I've tried to. But I've hung on to a couple of things. I've kept a few things to help soothe me, to help keep me at peace sometimes when I need it. But Jeff is right about one thing, the people. It's the memories. The people who brought us these memories are the most important. Cherish those people. Cherish their memories. Keep their spirit inside of you, because they're watching over you, those that are not here. And like my dad, who's right upstairs right now in his apartment walking around, I can hear him. Cherish those that are still with you, and just be at peace knowing that every moment with them is going to be a cherished memory, as long as you have them and they're with you in your life, as long as you're here as well. So I want to thank Jeff for bringing up nostalgia and the death of nostalgia. I won't say that nostalgia is dead for me. No. I've, like Jeff, learned to realize that some of it has to be kept to a minimum level. You can't get too nostalgic. You can't live in the past. But I think a little nostalgia can be helpful sometimes, and it can be soothing and peaceful. So Jeff, thank you so much. Thanks to Jeff at Calico Silver for this video idea and my response here because of that. And please go subscribe to his channel. Peace, love, from the basement, my parents' basement. This is Matthew Street. Bye-bye. Thank you, Jeff. Peace, brother.